lot of her prayers for a deal for the Ukraine that was emphasized, and that Israel not strike back very strong to Iran, because Iran, she's confirmed for years, is already nuclear armed. So she knows all these details, and a lot of the work that I've sent on to different people over the years has come completely verified that she is in the know about these things. And that's her job, one of them from the spirit plane. Difficult task. And she's given me, making these up public. And not everybody is going to agree with what Diana says. And when I was on Kimberly's show, she was hearing complaints from other people of other political persuasions, shall we say, that it was sounding too political. Well, it's not political. Let me clarify. It's world affairs. It's got nothing to do with, elections per se, but it has everything to do with what the United States should be posturing and promoting more peace, So that's how I talk about these channeled messages from Princess Diana. So if you would just, go into your own sacred space, and we'll call in the angels first as we go forth. I can feel that strong angelic energy. I feel Archangel Michael coming in, Princess Diana, and the Marys, and Jesus, and all the ascended masters. Please be present as I present this message from Diana. And I'm calling you in, Diana, Archangel Michael, and all the masters, for the peace of the Middle East at this time. And she is saying, thank you, darling Marcia, for taking the time to use the dictation gifts in order to save the world through my voice. If the precedents that you had reached, and there are many that you did reach successfully, and did try to work with Mr. Netanyahu for the creation of the Palestinian state, if that had happened, we wouldn't be in this circumstance today with the very needless suffering of the Palestinians and Gazans at this point, nor would we have to fear the horrible attack from Iran on Israel with missiles. So this was channeled right around that time that it was happening. The peoples of the Middle East do not want war. And it seems that the leaders of the Middle East, particularly Iran, are very brainwashed into thinking that Israel is the sole root of the problem, when Israel is not the root of the problem. Most Israelis want a peace. When Israel is, but are not sure how to give it. And that 33 Gazans are dead, women and innocent children. And this is what is creating the backlash for Israel and making her a target for a more extremist rhetoric and attack from various proxies and Iran. The United States is right in calling for no further attack from Israel upon Iran. And if Israel were to drop something of a nuclear or atomic bomb, God forbid, it would blow up parts of the world. We all need to call for moderation and peace in this situation, for it is indeed a ticking time bomb. This is exactly what I said when I said that Marcia's work could prevent a nuclear holocaust. I have confirmed for a long time that Iran already possesses nuclear bombs, enough to wipe out Israel. In this message, we do not take sides of pro-Muslim or pro-Israel, for we are pro-people and pro-peace. And most people would rather peace than war, especially if they are the victims of it. Continuing on then, it would behoove President Biden to consider withholding some weapons from Israel if they continue to provoke the situation, and not allow a ceasefire immediately for the people of Gaza. At this time, I would ask you, and she's asked me to privately send on my book, and ask to get Israel to agree to the Palestinian state fast, or this will and could escalate tensions further in the Middle East. Iran is not a good actor, and there are factions that Iran is backing, probably, yeah. Or it could be in Rosalie's. Okay, as I was saying, Dinah's words. Iran is not a good actor, and there are factions that Iran is backing, such as Hamas. And I would back down if they had really truly want a Palestinian state to look forward to. For we could work with moderate Arab people, such as the PLO, as a partner in peace. I am not giving into warmongering, and I'm not allowing the naysayers to say that it can't be done. Look what Bill Clinton did with Northern Ireland and the Irish Republic. Now there is talking of uniting both Irelands. Peace is the only alternative to war, which I am all for, by the way, if the people of Ireland and Northern Ireland would like to unite and wish it to be so. But there again, they are democracies. John Lennon was so right in his stance on peace, and your fine work from the afterlife with you, Marcia. Notes from John, messages from across the universe. Every person that wants peace must do something for peace. And I do not mean go out and demonstrate or lay in front of a tank and so on. But yes, demonstrations will be helpful. And most Americans don't realize that most of their tax dollars are going to fund ridiculous amounts of weapons and wars all over the world. I personally, as Diana, am against all wars. However, I will make an exception to the defense of Ukraine because she was unjustly attacked, and some people feel there would have been a greater chance of negotiation with Russia. But I tell you, as I read the records for President Putin, he is not a reasonable person, and there was no chance that he was going to negotiate on invading Ukraine. That is just pure Russian propaganda, which has gotten into US politics. More people and children are being lost and abducted by the Russian regime and brainwashed into being pro-Russian. Well, some of the Republican Party, through Trump's influence, because he was Russian friendly, have become of the mindset that Ukraine isn't worth saving. Ukraine is not the only nation that the dictator Putin will look down to take down in the future. On his list are other nearby nations, namely Belarus, Lithuania, Moldova, and of course, he's already got Crimea. I urge the diplomatic departments to consider forging a peace alliance and supporting Ukraine for arms and shipments of arms only for the defense, not the attack. I feel that there is a lot of hopelessness in Ukraine right now, and the Divine Mother Mary stands with Divine Mary Magdalene in guarding the mothers and sons and daughters of the Ukrainian people who are dying daily. They stand with the fine democratically elected President Volodymyr Zelensky, who is in fact of the light. He is doing a fine job in a turbulent situation. We want to support him. I'd rather see a peace treaty than more armaments being given. Nonetheless, I think his call for armaments is a call for help, and we should help if we can. And of course, that did already come true. That is my one exception to the feeling I have about war and weapons of war. I personally, as Diana, feel that they need to all be abolished so we can usher in the age of peace for mankind, instead of letting another nuclear explosion happen on this beautiful planet Earth. I am watching over the Earth with the greatest of care as I watch over each of you, especially Marcia, who has worked so hard without remuneration for world peace. And we only ask that you listen to the diplomatic solutions and do something for peace. Either write a congressman or cast your vote in the next election for the person that you most feel represents the possibility for peace. It was my sincere hope that a woman could be running for the election this time, for women have a unique contribution aimed for world peace and with the heart and mind to create peace. I admire the work of Marianna Williamson, who is a fine peace worker and light worker, and one day I hope to see her in a position of power. I'll leave it at that and send on great blessings and great light to all of you listeners today and forever. I am forever Diana, England's Rose and Princess of Peace. And P.S. Please keep Catherine in your prayers and the entire royal family at this time. So that is the great Diana. And I was heartened to see that the two requests she put out were answered in, directly answered, even though it wasn't publicly published or put out there anywhere. So, I'm still at all of my work with the wonderful Diana. And I've still never, been able to connect with any of her sons. Even, Harry in the United States is inaccessible, and of course, William and everything. I mean, I could probably really help Catherine right now, having been through a cancer journey myself. But, I'm not looking for fame, but I am looking to help others, So that's my take on the situation with Diana. And my books did go on to reach a lot of the presidents, and she's asking me to reach this current one. And these are the books that we're talking about, the With Love from Diana, Queen of Hearts, and this other one here that's a rare collectible, Princess Diana's Message of Peace, and that was published in 203. And so I'll set this down now, and we're going to center in again to Mother Mary and Mary Magdalene and call them forth. So this is a much simpler message, and I think you'll be able to relate to it much more. So Mother Mary and Mary Magdalene speak on War and Peace, channeled April the 25th. Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene, calling on you for the wisdom and insights of the divine feminine and what we can do as light workers to end the war in the Middle East and for Ukraine. And any of your insights are very welcome as we journey inward to hear and feel your guiding light. So just receive Mary's energy, both of the Marys, Mary Magdalene and Mother Mary. My dearest friend, Marcia, this is your mother, Mother Mary, speaking to you from the ascended realms of light, where we look down upon earth and are part of it as we are trying to calm the tensions there. Mary Magdalene has a special role assigned to her in bringing forth the divine feminine knowledge that's been suppressed for 2,000 years, and in so doing, liberating the women of the Middle East. Mary Magdalene was very liberated at her time, as I was, though I was more refined and less outspoken. I was nonetheless an example of a woman revered and had very difficult lessons in that lifetime. Speaking of difficult lessons, one cannot imagine how difficult it is to live under the threat of bombs and war. We are sorry to see the conflict in the Middle East is escalating slightly, but we ask all light workers here today to please send prayer for a ceasefire and for the release of the Israeli hostages, for we don't take sides, but we've seen an extraordinary amount of suffering, unparalleled suffering of the Palestinians, and most people of the world feel that it's unjust for what has happened. If they had any idea of the divine feminine power, they would not be exercising these horrible weapons upon one another, killing innocent women and children, and bombing hospitals. But that also goes for the war in the Ukraine. There are primary victims of war, women and children, and of course men. But quite a few of the men have also been victimized in both wars. I tell you that it is the leaders that seem to be provoking these things, and not so much the will of the people. And Israel not being deliberate, but having a strong military. We recommend President Biden withhold military aid if he wants to see any results with the Palestinian state. Likewise, Mary Magdalene, in a more subtle way, guides the evolution of women's consciousness in the Middle East, where they are tired of the Muslim headdress and they're tired of the way that the men are treating them. If it weren't such a patriarchal society, she's speaking here of their Arab nations more so. We feel that it would be the leadership of women that would lead to a more peaceful world in that area of the world. In the future, we would like to see more women in leadership in government. That goes for every government in the world. But now, just please send prayers, all of you, because the world is at a very dangerous precipice where one wrong button can send off nuclear bombs. Of particular importance is the children and the women of Ukraine, who have done nothing wrong. And this is not a political message. This is a message of a compassion of the heart. My heart, Mother Mary, and Mary Magdalene's heart, who sends on her love, and as well to all the women suffering in these wars. She will make her presence felt and known there, as well as in her groups. So let's pause a minute to receive Mary's and Magdalene's rose energy. And we ask the people to be patient with one another, for the solar eclipse brought in many energies that were very strongly male and very aggressive. And even though there was a lot of splendor associated with the eclipse and delight, eclipses in general tend to be difficult for the feminine side. We are just grateful that nothing else has escalated from Iran, but she does hold nuclear power, and we don't want to see that exercised on Israel. We feel that if Israel does not pull out soon, they may plan something terrible. So in this case, we ask everyone to send out the meditation now. So if you would, you can raise your hands, and we can imagine the Merkaba, which was given to me originally by Archangel Metatron and Michael, which is the Jewish star. And you can draw it if you want to. It's like a triangle with another triangle vibrating inside. And just imagine that Merkaba is vibrating in 3 dimensions inside your hands, and just send it to yourself first and let that cleanse all your chakras, and feel the angelic download as you give this to yourself, and just breathe it in. And then imagine that floating, as we're going to create a giant Merkaba, and it's rotating counterclockwise with the Star of David, 3-dimensional, like they did in the old times of Egypt and Israel. It has a special significance to Israel, particularly, and really it's the universal symbol of the light body. So let's just send that with the help of Mother Mary and the archangels and Diana over to the Middle East right now, to the Gazans suffering, and to the Israelis that are still trapped in those circumstances of hostage, and to the Israeli government and all those that are applying all of their diplomatic skills, particularly the United States, to receive this energy of peacemaking, the energy of great light and healing and cleansing. For wars making the situation so much more complicated for a possible Palestinian state and possible peace for Israel. And then just breathe in protection for Israel, that nothing come to her unwarranted, and that protection for the Palestinian people and their statehood, that there would be a new leader somewhere that would be moderate. And also let's move that up into Iran and move it all around to Lebanon, and all the Houthis in Yemen and all that crazy stuff going on. And just see that Merkaba rotating above the region. We're only doing with 3, but where 2 are more gathered, there I am in the midst, Jesus says. And so let's now take that blessed Merkaba energy over to the Ukraine and Russia on the border there. And that's coming from Rosalie. Okay, that's the way to go, knowing the Zoom. Okay, Ukraine. Let's have peace in the Ukraine in the next few months and a deal. We're tired of seeing that suffering. and sending in love, divine love to the Ukraine, and holding out our hands of healing. And okay, anyone want to contribute any of their thoughts or impressions as we hold this energy? And we're going to put this on and the recording, but we're going to continue to hold the Merkaba as we go into our healing, Reiki, and prayer requests, and any mini readings if we have that. So stay on the call. And thank you again for attending. Those are of you that are watching the call on YouTube. Please like and subscribe to the channel Marcia McMahon, and I will see you next time. And please send out thoughts of peace to everyone in the world at this time.